I know it's Saturday, it's almost the end of Odoo experience, so I'm very, very happy for everyone who will be there, who is going to watch me live doing this presentation or on YouTube later on. Today we're going to talk about aviation and aviation tool and how Odoo can help this kind of industry to help them work more efficiently and their process. I'm Benoit, I'm working at Camp to Camp, the famous Switzerland integrator, specifically on the SmartCamp team. We are specialized in fast and standard integration, and that was the case in the use case I'm going to talk to you today. About my profile, I try to be like a mixed guy, almost as technical as functional. If you want more information about this project or about the team, or if you had some idea to work with us, you can go to camtocamp.com. We're going to be very, very happy to answer your question. Let's start. So, if you have any question during this presentation, you can scan the QR code. If you have some interesting question, at the end I'm going to be very happy to answer them. Let's go. So what's going to be the goal of today? The goal of today is to understand what are the challenges when you are an industry, in a plane industry, and you want to change your ERP, especially if you want to go in Odoo. To achieve this goal about this presentation, we're going to go through several topics, like what are the classical plane industry software stack, how can Odoo help, what are the kind of integration you have to do, and how can Odoo standard features can help you on a daily basis, you and your colleague. And at the end, if we have time, we're going to do a short live demonstration and obviously some Q&A. So a small overview. So if you are on the plane industry, there is a very, very high percentage that you are using industry software. In Europe and also in Switzerland, because Camp to Camp is mainly based in Switzerland, you're going to use two kinds of software. One based specifically on fly ops services, like you have to plan when the pilot will be in which country, you have to manage the crews and manage all services like flight, obviously, that are around your management. You're going to have also other kind of software that are more handling basis, to be sure that every passenger that you're going to have will be from point A to point B and everything's doing well. It's more about ground operation than, for example, fly ops service that is more flight based. And around these kind of things, you're going to have accounting, expenses software, these kind of things, reporting software. That means that at least you're going to have a mix of standard application to managing your CRM, your accounting and stuff, and also very, very industry-specific software. The purpose of Odoo, in that case, is not to replace all this industry-specific software. The goal with Odoo is to take advantage of all the integration possibility and all standard possibility to help your teammate every day to be more efficiently, more quality of data, and to work faster for your customer. For doing this kind of things, I'm going to talk about a classical legacy software stack that one of our projects has. In that case, it's very simple. You're going to have MyHandling and Leon. For your info, it's two of the main software that are used right now in the European Union and Switzerland. You're going to have a very standard accounting software in Switzerland actually that is called WinBiz, and Excel for everything else. What I mean by everything else is reporting, consolidation, expenses tracking, customer reports, these kind of things. For this customer, it was a lot of pain points. They have to duplicate the invoice or copy-paste the information between software A and software B. It was a lack of features. So about the pain points of all this software, we have to understand why they are useful. So in MyHandling, for example, so this one is more about handling operation and ground operation. You're going to have a contact book, you're going to have a bit of flight management, and you're going to have some invoicing. So it's not accounting, but it's invoicing. And it's not a pure flight management software, but you have a bit of flight management software in that case. You have also Leon, where you have another contact book. You have also flight management, invoicing also, and this one adds another layer that is planning. WinBiz, in that case, it's the classical accounting software and also a bit of payroll, and Excel for everything else. On the top of that, there is also a lot of communication tool between you and the support team and the pilot, for example. That means some Slack, some Teams, some WhatsApp, some Messenger, and so on. How Odoo can help in that case? Odoo can help because we're going to take advantage of a lot of connectivity that has Odoo. That will be the main subject of the next slides. We're going to build also this project based on accounting, expenses, consolidation, and the new Swiss payroll module. I talked a little bit at the start of this presentation that I'm part of the Smart Camp team at Camp to Camp, where we are specialized in standard implementation. In that case, we take advantage of all the standard features of Odoo. We don't change them a lot, obviously, and we implement like a mixed methodology with two connectors that are actually full customization hosted on Odoo SH. In that case, if I draw a small overview of what is going on for the data, actually, so you're going to have Leon, for example, that is a flight operation that's going to send by a GraphQL API, in that case, information to Odoo. What I mean by information is invoices, documents, what we're going to see a little bit later, and Odoo going to send some information back when the user will. In that case, for example, payment status and other key information that we're going to see. If I take MyHandling, that is the second software, unfortunately, this software is a bit old. That means that they don't have some API connectivity. But with Odoo, it's absolutely not a problem. In that case, we use the document application to store flat file, XML file, CSV file, and to read them, process them in accounting, in contact book, and generate them. Actually, in that case, we use a SFTP server to download some file and also upload some files. Let's talk a bit about Leon. What we want for Leon is to be successful at synchronize 2,000 invoice in like 1 month and 10,000 contact sync every day, almost in real time. Actually, it's sync every 5 minutes. What I mean by sync every 5 minutes, that means that every 5 minutes I connect to the Leon API, I synchronize my invoice, I synchronize my payments, I synchronize my contact book. That means that if I'm a support team and I want to check the ongoing payment status or invoices that are in Odoo, every 5 minutes I have new one. And invoices is not enough, because in that case I want also to have some industry-specific fields like flight information. We're going to see that now. For example, here you're going to have a contact that is actually synchronized. So you're going to have the full contact features of Odoo. You're going to have the synchronization of the company and also sub-contact. It's a lot of time that this use case happens in the plane industry. And with Odoo, we can achieve the standard features or achieve contact and subcontact. And for me, what was very important is to not create like a wall between Leon software in that case and Odoo. I want my user to go through these two software very easily. That's why it's very important to us to add this small smart button, for example, that called Open in Leon, that directly from the Odoo contact page, you can click on that and arrive directly on Leon on the contact page on your industry software. Also, one small thing that was very important for this key user, it's the language. On the plane industry, you will not have only French speaking people. You're going to have English, Arabic, Italian, Spanish, and it was also very, very important to synchronize that and to don't forget. What is cool then with Odoo is every invoice, every sale order, every expenses that you're going to send to the customer or re-invoice to the customer with standard features going to be automatically translated, which is very, very cool. And that was not the case in Leon actually. So if you achieve these kind of things, be sure to create a link between your industry software and Odoo. If I take another example, so before we were on the contact, this one is about the invoices. At the top of the screen, it was very important to me to also have this Open in Leon button to be sure that if I have a doubt about the customer invoice content or if I have a doubt about something on the flight, I can click on that and directly access to this plane industry software. Obviously, every invoice line is complete with section, notes, if there is note in Leon, and product or invoice content. By standard, you're going to have your classical chart of account and taxes that will be automatically completed by Odoo, which is very, very cool. Also, when you have this kind of synchronization, the Leon software team or the support team that's gonna work, gonna send some invoice to the customer. In that case, we don't want the customer to receive like a first layout in Leon that was more about this quotation and these kind of things, and another Odoo layout about the invoice, because it's not really corporate and we don't want these layout differences. That's why we take the decision to download the invoice PDF directly from Leon, upload it as an attachment in Odoo, and tell to Odoo, act like this is the correct PDF invoice, and you can use them the send as email, all the email reminder in Odoo very, very easily. I talked a little bit about flight information before. Actually, every invoice are linked to one or n flights that's going to take my customer, actually. That's why we add this new tab that we call Leon Flights. That means at one sneak peek, I can have my invoice for more the accounting team. And if I'm more about a support team or handling team, I can also connect to the invoice and search for the Leon Flights. Leon Flights, it's quite cool as an information, because I'm going to have my flight number, obviously, which aircraft is going to be to use, departure airport and destination airport, departure time local or arrival time local. It was a tricky thing, this one, because the synchronization was done one time when the invoice is created, and I will say 1 hour or 2 hours before the flight, you're not 100% sure what will be the aircraft, what will be the pilot. That's why if the customer invoice is not confirmed, we're going to execute the synchronization every 5 minutes to be sure that no information will be changed. And when my key user or where the accounting team confirm it and send it to the customer, obviously it's locked. When you have this kind of industry-specific information, it's also very important, if you have this kind of connector, that this information is accessible not only on the invoices, but you have to the possibility to search for them. That's why we built some filters and group by on the contact application, on the sales application, on the accounting application. For example, in that case, on the left, you see a small filter screenshot where I can search for invoice date, obviously, airport deport, airport arrival, the flight number, or what is the aircraft type. It's really cool because what happens a lot in that industry is what will be the aircraft that's going to land today in Sion, for example, or in Brussels. What are the aircraft that are going to arrive today? These kind of things. That's why it's important when you build this kind of industry, this kind of features for this industry, to be sure that the information is not isolated in the invoice or the contact, but accessible by filter and group by. And also, because everything is embedded directly in Odoo and contact and invoices, you can take advantage of the standard features of pivot table and spreadsheet. That was one major pain point of my customer, is that they have to copy-paste information from Winbiz, their accounting software, Leon and MyHandling, bringing back everything in Excel, and during hours and hours build some reporting. Now everything is embedded in Odoo directly, and they can build customer reports, like once a month they send customer automatic reports that say which flight they take, what is the amount they're going to pay, these kind of things. And they can also build a pivot table and spreadsheet. In this project, what we discuss with the customer and what you have to discuss in this industry is what's the usage of the analytic features of Odoo. Really, really important. Because aircraft, in that case, are a big investments. That means that you have to be sure that the profitability of this object, I will say, are good, and you have to follow that every week, every day, every month. So be sure to create analytic plans. In that case, we create one for pilots and one for planes. And it's directly embedded in Leon software and MyHandling. That means that the invoices that are synced in Odoo already have this information, and that is very, very cool. And another thing, because before going on another subject, we use, for, as I said, for Leon, an extensive usage of the API. It's a lot of time that in the industry you have multi-company based Odoo, so be sure, as we did, that the connector you use or the things you implement are multi-company compatible. And another thing, it's an industry with high security laws. For example, the Leon software remove the API key every 7 days. That means that my customer has to copy-paste the API key in the settings every 7 days. And it's important to be aware of that, and that the end customer can do that by himself. I talk a lot about synchronization, but what's the actual customer flow? The actual customer flow is actually quite simple and standard. We sync invoices. When it's time of the flight, they confirm it. When they are sure that the flight's going to open and what's the aircraft and what's the pilot. So they are as open. Actually, they're going to send then the invoices to the customer, and they're going to reconcile it with some reconciliation model standard features of Odoo. Then, when the invoice is paid, you're going to have 2 instant built notifications that are sent. One to the customer, one to the handling team, because it's important for them, and an information will be bring back to Leon to say that the invoice is paid. And these things happen in real time. That means that one time a day, actually in the morning, the accounting team going to reconcile it, and directly, I would say 5 minutes later, the handling team in Leon going to see, oh, this invoice is paid, and automatically the customer going to receive a small email that says, the payment for this flight with this aircraft, with this plane is okay. That was another major pain point that we solved with the standard Odoo implementation. There were a lot of communication between the handling team and the accounting team that said, hey, did I need to reserve this plane? Did the invoice is actually paid? These kind of things, because there are no connection between the accounting software and Leon, and we solved that, and no more disturb about that. That was about Leon. That was actually the most complete integration we did, because 90% of their transaction was based on that. But don't forget the other 10%. A complete implementation is successful when every use case are obviously complete by the customer. For MyHandling, that was quite a tricky one, because MyHandling is a quite old software. So where with Leon, we use the classical API integration, with MyHandling, we can't. So how to achieve that? With my colleague, we had a wonderful idea to use the document application. Document application is mainly used for store document, and in that case, we create and store and download XML file. Then we then proceed with studio action. Let's talk about that. On the left, you see the classical document workspace. In that case, we create a MyHandling workspace with 4 folders, one for flight, one for payment, invoice, and contact. And the MyHandling team every day send to Odoo directly there the XML file that then we're going to read with automated action and server action. One obviously for invoices, for contact, payment, and flights. For payments, it's a bit different, because payments are not read by Odoo, but generated by Odoo. As we did with Leon, when we did the reconciliation, the information is bring back to Leon by API. In MyHandling, because no API, we have to generate an XML file. And with the powerful tool of Odoo Studio, with automated action and server action, we have the possibility to read every bank reconciliation did yesterday, create our XML file, and send it to this partner. So very, very cool. And it's actually successful. With these 2 connectors, actually we solve a lot of problems of this customer and on this project. But we take also advantages of 2 very powerful features of Odoo. The new Swiss payroll localization. This customer is almost on the last version of Odoo. It's actually Odoo 18. And in Switzerland, and because of the Odoo team and Camp to Camp, we have now a fully compliant SwissDeck certification that is very, very cool to use and easy to take advantage with. In that case, on the plane industry, it's very, very important to have a Swiss payroll software like Odoo that is easy to use, because you have a lot of mixed monthly hourly salary, like I wrote. Some pilot will be external, paid by hours. Some pilot will be based on a monthly salary, and this module takes care of that very, very easily. You have also expenses reimbursement that is actually embedded in this Swiss payroll app, obviously. And it's also useful because in this industry you can have a lot of departure and arrival of new employee. So we take advantage of that and take advantage of the new structure and payroll structure that created Odoo in Odoo 18. So very, very cool. And also in this industry you have to take a really, really care about expenses management. On this project, for example, where we have around 30 pilots and 10 aircraft, we are at a volume of 2,000 expenses in 1 month and a half. That means it's very, very big. So you have to be sure that it solves the pain point. In that case, every pilot, so actually around 20, has its own Odoo account with the Odoo PWA directly downloaded in their mobile. So they can submit expenses, as I say, directly on flight, but obviously more often later on the hotel room, and it's ready to be re-invoiced to final customer. We did a small customization process where you can very, very easily submit an expense, validated by the accounting team, and then re-invoiced directly to the customer very, very fast. Because I have only 4 minutes left, I'm going to do a very, very small live demo where I'm going to show you live what's the industry field specific. So like this. And for example, I'm going to go to my contact. In that case, if it's loading, I hope very fast, looking for me, and go to this one. So as I said before, you have this open in Leon directly button just there. If I go now to one invoices, for example, very easy, like this, I have directly on the right my PDF and all information, like the flights just there. Also, I can directly, if I remove every invoice, I can directly search for there like this. Okay. Last thing, because there is 3 minutes left, and I don't know if we have question, but let's go. Like this. It was a big, I would say 6 months to a 9 months project. And in that case, when you have standard implementation and customization, in that case a lot, it's really important to build a strong team around this project. You manage a lot of data, you manage a lot of volume, you manage a lot of pilots, and it's big assets, so it's a high-risk project. So be sure that you have a customer team project that are with you and very strong. And in that case, there is 2 key users that work with me. So they are anonymous right now, but a special thanks to them. Be sure to have a project officer that listen to you and your problem. In that case, the Frédéric Clémenti, that is the team leader of the Smart Camp team. So thanks to you. Thanks to my wonderful French colleague, Sébastien Duchesne from the Smart Camp team also, that are responsible of the MyHandling integration, and that creates a lot of this Odoo Studio automated action and server action. And a wonderful thank you to Niklas Herb, our payroll specialist, that works a lot with Odoo to have a big and strong payroll offer. And also every Come2Come colleagues, of course. Do we have some question? I don't know. Is there some question? Maybe. Pas de souci.
Un, deux, oui, voilà. So, would you be able to add extra fillet software connector or extra?
Absolutely. with Odoo, you have a lot of connectivity possibility. In that case, it was very strong because we use a GraphQL API and a pure flat XML, and Odoo works wonderfully with this two type of technology in that case.
Second question will be, would it be possible to transfer all of Leon's use to Odoo, or is it too aviation specific?
No, it's too aviation specific. In that case, the very strong force of Odoo is the airport connectivity, where you're going to reserve and tell some flight that's going to happen, and there is a strong planning features directly embedded in Odoo, and the goal was to gain time on everything else and not on these two topics.
Thank you. Do we still have time? Yes. Can you achieve a real profitability analysis by flight? I think about expenses or even fuel, craft maintenance.
Absolutely. Actually, with the standard features of analytic plan and analytic account, we use them obviously in invoices and in expenses and also in bank reconciliation, for example, for aircraft hangar rating. So we have every accounting moves that are linked to one pilot or a group of pilots and to one aircraft or a group of aircraft. So that means that at some point my customer do some consolidation between these multi-company, and we have a balance sheet and profit and loss that are customized for his needs with analytic plan.
Thank you for this. I think we are running out of time, so thank you.
Thank you very much.